I'm going to cover the first item in the rubric, which is explain different type of Java selection statement. In this example, we are using some Java code to get input from the user keyboard. Particularly, I'm going to talk about this if selection statement. This if will check whatever the user enters and check the length, which is the same as how many characters the user typed. The user has to type at least one character, and if this is not true, a warning will be displayed, and the user asked to enter other value. After we get valid user input, the program will now execute the do action function. Here we have a switch selection statement, which acts like many if statements, but it is better. The switch will analyze the input, and if it matches one of the cases, a function will be executed. If it doesn't, a warning is displayed. For example, if the input equals W, the useAct function is executed. Now the second and third rubrics. Explain the development process of a function and an example of a test case. For this example, I have the calc hours to seconds function. Define. The problem solved is to calculate how many seconds are in X hours. Design. The function has to accept a parameter hours and then return how many seconds were in that hour. I have a test matrix design. For example, for 45 hours, I would expect this many hours. For 1 hour, I am expecting this. First, I established that the minimum boundary is 1. So we check if it less than 1 and we return -1, which is an error. Similar thing for the maximum boundary. If it is more than 50, we return -1. In other words, valid input is from 1 to 50. Next, we declare a variable called seconds, and we assign the calculation of the number of hours times 3600. Finally, we return the variable seconds to some other piece of code that called it. In order to test, we create a test class. We defined all of the test cases that we created. We compare that expected value with the value returned from the function. We right-click on the test class and select test. The function is now ready. We now have to commit and push the new code. Right-click on charcoal, git and commit. Give a description. Now git, remote, and then push. This will upload the new code to the repository, but I won't do it since this is a test function. Now the fourth rubric, scope and lifespan of variables. In this help menu view class, I have a class variable called menu, which can be used anywhere within the class. In the get input function, I have a Boolean variable called valid, which can only be used within this function. The lifespan of the variable menu starts when a new instance of the class help menu view is created and ends when this class is destroyed. The lifespan of the valid variable starts when the get input function is called and ends when the function ends. For the fifth rubric, create an example of function and explain past variables by reference and by value. I have an object class called cat and a test function called defineCat, which accepts parameters by value and by reference. Whenever we pass an object, or cat in this case, to another function, we are passing the reference of the object. In other words, the location in memory, and then it is copied to the local variable of the function. We pass primitives, in this example strings, to the functions. We are passing the value of these variables, and this value is copied to the local variables.